Hi, I'm Molly.
And I'm Jamie, and this is our From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast. As the owners of Hired Hand website software, we've been developing websites and creating internet marketing strategies for livestock breeders for the past 10 years.
The majority of our customers are involved in the breeding of registered animals, such as Texas longhorns, Highland cattle, horses, and white-tailed deer, where the pedigrees are very important. The From the Pasture with Hired Hand podcast examines many of the differences in raising pedigreed livestock for maximum profit. Join us and learn what we're covering today.
Today I'm here with Randy and Cheyenne Sloan of High Desert Longhorns in Craig, Colorado. Thank you both for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
So I was looking over your website before we got started here today, and what stuck out at me kind of the most on your intro page was you talked a lot about how disposition is your number one quality because of your kids and how much they're involved. So let's start there, and why don't you tell me just a little bit about your family overall and maybe what your kids enjoy most about the Longhorns.
Okay. So I guess to start a little bit, the reason we even got Longhorns again is I had a herd from when I was like 8 years old to 16. So I kind of grew up with them a little bit. But I did kind of grow out of them and
moved on to other things as a
kind of
teenager.
moved on to other things when I went to college and all that. But I started with two bulls, which is obviously not a very good way to start out, but I just fell in love with them, and that's where I started. And I ended with like 25 pairs. When I was 16 is what I sold. They're all registered cattle. But anyways, then here 4 years ago, my wife and I took over my dad's ranch and outfitting business here in Colorado. And we now have a 3,000 acre ranch and we need
no cattle.
Yeah, no cattle. So we
had both kind of been burned. We both grew up around beef cattle too. And so we had both kind of been burned a little bit on beef cattle just because you don't get the connection quite as much with them. And they tend to not be quite as mellow dispositioned. And so
for years I helped my dad run yearling beef cattle and they were just a little bit of a nightmare.
Yeah, kind of a pain.
Yep. So it was kind of a quick and easy decision to get back into Longhorns. Mm-hmm. But another big factor in that was being that we have our young kiddos, and I know that the Longhorn industry is a wonderful place to raise kids.
Yes.
Just because there's so many opportunities as far as shows and scholarships and all that kind of thing.
It's a wonderful community all around in general. Yeah.
So we have a 4-year-old son named Bo, and actually a week ago we just had a daughter named River.
So
congratulations. Thank you. And then we also have a niece who is almost 10, who is also, she's just as involved in our life.
She'll probably be one of the first to start showing cattle for us.
Mm-hmm.
When we got back into the Longhorns again, I wanted to do it a little bit different. We had, like I said, I had 25 pairs, and when we got back into it, we ended up buying 3 cows. And we spent more money on those 3 cows than I made off of those 25 pairs that I had. And that was kind of just our mindset when we come back into it, is that a 3-figure cow eats the same amount of hay as a 6-figure cow. So we just kind of want to grow very slowly and keep the quality that we want. But one of the biggest things on that list is we want stuff that we can trust our kids with. Mm-hmm. And which again was just a big change from considering the beef cattle, and I've been ran over by my fair share of those, and I don't really want my kids around that part of it.
Well, no, there's something super special about when you walk out into the pasture and whistle and shake a bucket and all of the cows come running to you and eat from your hand and everything, and they're really good. All of our girls are really good with the kids and everything too, so that's just something special that, beef operations can have nice cows too that'll come up and eat out of your hand. It's just not as common, I guess.
Especially with yearlings, where you only have them for 6 months and then they go off to the next place.
Yeah.
So when we first started chopping around for our first registered Longhorns again, one of like the next auctions coming up was the the top hand sale in Rapid City,
Yes.
South Dakota. So we looked through the catalog, and there was a couple cows that stood out there. Well, two in particular, and they both came from the same ranch. So we actually just made a road trip to that ranch and visited the ranch and saw all the cattle in person before the sale even happened.
Yeah.
And that is Jerry and Gretchen Lotspeech in Crawford, Nebraska.
Yeah, right around that. Yeah, Crawford, Nebraska.
Yeah.
Yep.
With Lazy JL Longhorns. Yeah, we went out and visited their ranch, and they're super, super nice people. But yeah, as soon as we went into his pasture to see his cows, I mean, his whole herd of 30 or 40.
No, I thought he had 20. It's in the 20s.
That's what he's down to now.
Oh, okay. Well.
Anywho, the whole herd came running up to us and just eager to see us and ready to eat cake. And
so well behaved, though. You know, It was awesome.
And we kind of immediately fell in love with his herd specifically.
But then the two cows we got to see in person, and we scratched them, and we loved on them, and we gave them treats, and we're like, oh my God. So that was really awesome.
So yeah, we ended up with one of the cows that he sold at that sale, and she's like she forever has a home on our place now.
Oh yeah.
She's just dog gentle, and and like we have a picture of our son when he was 2.
Yes.
Like he was hand feeding her cake, and
yes.
Yeah.
Did he make the trip to Nebraska with you all?
He did.
Yep.
Did he?
Yep.
And
he loved the calves. The calves were all super friendly too, and so we've got lots of pictures of him feeding the calves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If he was on today, what do you think he would say his favorite part is, or does he have a favorite animal maybe he enjoys seeing?
I don't know. We could bring him over and ask him.
Well, let's see. I know he loves all of them so much. He really loves Gretel, and I think that might be because that's the first one that he really kind of bonded with. But I think he really likes Teton as well, which is one of Gretel's daughters. So
yeah, Gretel was one of the first ones that we got there, and we kind of fell in love with her so much that we ended up going back and buying one of her heifer calves and then one of her granddaughters.
Yeah.
So for having a small herd, we kind of have, they're sort of kind of all revolve around her. Just because, she's kind of got it all. She's big bodied. She always raises a huge calf. She's dog gentle. Awesome color. I mean, so we're kind of basing things around her. But then we're also, I don't know, we have a new flavor that we're kind of looking at too, because she's a big total horn cow.
She goes
and we're
up.
wanting to get into more of the tip to tip kind of cows. So
I know you mentioned your niece maybe starting to show in the future. Do you have plans for the kids to show as well when they're a little bit older? Is that a route you're going to go down?
Yeah, we actually have 2 steer calves right now that we are halter breaking and working with and getting gentle down. They're both really good. They still have a little bit of work before the kids are completely able to do it, but Bo likes to, our one steer, he's actually out of Gretel. He's just like super, super gentle, and Bo likes to lead him all around. And so, we're getting them, what are they? Just turned a year, right? Yeah. So they'll probably be ready to show here soon. And then we also plan on, once they get older, saddle breaking them and everything as well, just for that added aspect of things, because I'm a horse trainer. So I'm like, well, we have to saddle break them. So,
and that's the other side of our business. Well, right now, our primary business is being a elk outfitter.
Hunting.
So for those folks who maybe are listening and not watching, the pile of sheds behind you is very impressive. So I was waiting for this topic to come up, because that's
like
that is a
300
large
plus sheds back there.
Yeah, that's where we make our living, is being elk outfitter. But we do have all the pasture, the land that we hunt on, and we want to graze it a little bit, but I also don't want to graze it even close to what the AUM capacity is, because the more habitat that we leave for the elk is better for us. So that was kind of the plan, is to graze our pasture very light, So that's where the Longhorns was another easy decision, because we can have a smaller herd that one day we're going to make more money off of that 20 pairs than you would 150 pairs of
And they're
beef
just
cattle.
better on the range anyways. They travel, they move, they don't just sit at one water hole, you know. I mean, they don't overgraze one area and then move to another area. They're so good on the rangeland anyways. So,
But the other side of that, where we want the gentle cattle, is we want to do like a guest ranch style trips in the summertime. So because we have a beautiful ranch up in high country Colorado, and we actually just got another ranch that's another 7,000 acres. And just from like some of the hunters that we have up, and they're just infatuated with how beautiful everything is, and they keep saying, "Oh, people would pay to come up here
just
with
to
like
see it."
without the hunting." So we're like, "Oh, we should be doing that." Like we can sell like a guest ranch style trip. But what we want to do to kind of stand us apart from everybody else is have the Longhorns be the center of it, and the saddle steers. I mean, because every other guest ranch around us, they all do horseback rides, and I hate to break it to people, but you don't want to ride a horse as much as you think you do.
like
your butt's
10
going to
minutes.
hurt in 5 minutes, and you're going to be over it.
Horses are, you know, it's one of those things, like when people don't understand horses have a mind of their own just like anybody else or anything else. And so it's like, well, my horse is doing this and my horse is doing this. And it's like, yeah, well, that's just kind of what horses do, you know? So the steers, I think will work out a little bit better. And then plus pictures, and we can do
we want a pasture full
all of
of
that.
gentle cattle that the guests can come out and they can feed them, and they can
pet them
and just watch them do what they do. And we can also kind of help just show people what Longhorns are all about.
Well, yeah, because even when we're hunting and stuff, we get back to the ranger after hunting, and the Longhorns are all waiting at the ranger for us, and the hunters are like, "Oh my gosh!" They're so infatuated with them. So.
They're almost a little bit of a pain sometimes when we're hunting, because they'll be following us all the way up into where we're trying to go. We're trying to sneak and be quiet, and we have a herd of cows following us.
They literally track you. I swear. Like they smell that you went up this draw, and all of a sudden now you've got the Longhorns following right in your tracks.
They're hunting you, but for the cubes, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yep.
So with kind of the future that you've outlined for your entire, hunting operation and outfitting and stuff, how does that relate to the Longhorns in terms of your growth, your plans for growth, and maybe adding more to the herd?
Yeah, we're very much in like a growing stage with the cows, meaning we have a couple that we want to sell just more because they're a cull. But I don't foresee us getting to a point where we're actually selling our whole calf crop every year. We're very much in a growing stage, but I want to continue growing very slowly just so that we keep quality. I mean, I don't want to go buy 10 cows just so that we have 10 more cows. I'd rather, buy one cow that's worth as much as...
Well, we're kind of, at this moment, we're kind of wanting heifers too.
Yeah, because currently we have so I guess to get into that that side of it. Another thing when we rekindled our Longhorns this go around is I told Cheyenne from the start, I was like, I do not want any bulls. Like, I don't want a bull on the whole place. We'll just AI. I go, the bull market is just so saturated. I don't want any part of that. Like, we just
makes things easier. You don't have to sort them. You don't have to keep anything separate.
Like, everybody thinks they have the top bull in the breed, and not
and
very many do.
There's some good ones out there. So.
And then, lo and behold, we bought another cow from Hudson Longhorns at that Rapid City sale.
Yep.
And that cow calved like 2 months after we got her home, and it was a bull calf.
First bull calf on the property.
But the plan was to castrate him and make him a trophy steer and give him to my dad. Just so my dad has like a pasture pet essentially in his retirement. Well, my dad is the biggest John Wayne fan you'll ever meet. So we named the calf John Wayne and planned on castrating him and all that.
Yep.
And he was like 5 months old, something like that. And we literally planned on banding and castrating him and branding him and all that like that weekend, like a couple days. And one of his sisters, his half sister, sold for $360,000. And I was like, I was like, wait a minute, Johnny's he's a brother to her.
Heads up. Yep.
Yeah, because he's a heads up son. And so it made me wonder a little bit. So I went out in the pasture and gave him some cake, and I measured him, and he was like 24 inches at 5 and something months. And I was like, that's a pretty darn good measurement. So I was like, oh no, the thing I said we wouldn't do, and yet the first bull calf that was born on the ranch, and here he is.
Yep.
But yeah, he's still a bull, and he went on to win his class at the Horn Showcase last year.
Yep.
At a yearling, he was 43 inches, and he's still right on track with that. We're actually getting a longhorn shoot here in a couple days, so we can actually get an official measurement on him. But he's just from comparing him to the cattle panel in his pen, we think he's over 60 at 18 months now. So he's still doing really, really well.
He's pretty cool. He's a cool dude.
The one thing that we said we wouldn't do, and here we are.
So yeah,
I feel like it's good how it worked out for you, though, because think how angry you would have been if you had castrated him, and the week after that, the cow had sold, or you'd found out.
Oh my gosh, yeah, everything happens for a reason when it's supposed to. Because we were very dead set. We did not want any bulls, but I remember when he was born, I think it was like 2 or 3 days after he was born, you could already see like little nubbins, and I was like, are they supposed to have horns this early? Holy cow! So, yeah, he's pretty cool. He's a pretty cool guy.
But yeah, I guess that's the big thing. You just gotta have an eye for the special ones, because we've had bull calves since that we have stuck to our original plan.
Yeah, like the 2 steers.
All that. But yeah, he's just appearing to be a really special one. And Heads Up is obviously a sire that's getting a lot of
pretty good.
Yeah, his offspring are doing really well. And, I think we potentially have one of the best Heads Up sons out there. So, hi.
Hey, you want to say hello?
They want to know who your favorite longhorn is.
Hi, Bo.
Hi.
How's it going?
Good.
Which one of our cows is your favorite?
Doc.
Yeah. Well, that's this steer that he likes to lead around. So that makes sense.
Is that what you like best about him? Is that you can lead him wherever you want?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a favorite cow? Do you have a favorite girl?
The girls?
Nora.
What do you like about her?
No.
She's just your favorite, huh?
Do you like that you made Dad pull his hair out?
What?
And how are we feeling about being a new big brother? Is that pretty cool?
Yeah.
Yeah? Someday she'll be running around with you playing with the cows, right?
Yeah.
You like feeding the cows, huh?
Yeah.
Giving them cakes?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. What about Gretel?
Yeah, I like her too.
Mama G? Yeah. I think you
Sounds like you like them all, right? So was the horn showcase that you mentioned that you won last year, I believe, is that the first one that you went to? Or have you been to a few prior to kind of when you had them before you sold out?
Did you do anything?
No, that was our first one.
Yeah, that was the very first show like we've ever taken anything to for the Longhorns.
And we did just go to a satellite location there to get them measured. But this year, and part of the reason for that is just because of the timing of the Horn Showcase is terrible for us as a Colorado elk outfitter. But this year it's actually a little bit better because it's a weekend earlier. But we're planning on going to the main event with Johnny and entering him in the bowl alley and everything, and try to. That's one of our biggest short-term goals is to get him the advertising and
what's the word we're looking for here?
The publicity that he deserves because yeah, he's doing really well and we want to show him off a little bit. So
yep.
Nice. Well, that'll be exciting.
Yeah.
How long of a trip is that for you guys down there?
Is this 12 or 14 hour drive?
Is it in Oklahoma?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. 12, 14 hours, something around in there.
Yeah.
And what satellite location did you go to last year?
We went to
it was around Provo. Yeah, it was around Provo, Utah.
Okay.
I believe they're JH. It's the home of gold mine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
And you mentioned that you guys are getting your first Longhorn shoot next week. What kind did you decide to go with?
We got a PNC.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
Have you seen those in action? Is that kind of what appealed to you?
yeah, we're a big fan of those PNC shoots, and this one, it's actually used, but it worked out good because they offered to deliver it to like eastern Colorado.
Yeah, because it was in North Dakota.
Yeah. So yeah, we paid like almost new price for it. Not that it matters. Like used shoot is just as good as a new one. But the fact that it was delivered to Colorado made it worth it for us.
Huge. We only have to travel 4 hours?
Because the place that PNC shoots are made is like
way far away.
2,000 miles from us. long ways. So.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're super excited to actually get a shoot.
Measure all of our girls.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah, but everybody's going to go through and get measured. And
Yep.
When you work the cattle, do you work them on horseback then, or no? Do you?
Yes. Yeah, we do. We have 4 horses, so we it usually only takes like 2 or 3 of us to round them up and get them all. They know their route pretty well now for the most part.
Yeah.
Yep.
And are you all planning to go back to the top hand sale again this summer, right? This summer?
I think it's in like the fall-ish, isn't it?
Yeah, it's always in August. Which again, the timing of it's usually not super great for us. And the top hand sale is one that, I don't know, we, like last year and the year before, right? I know like last year we bid online on some of like Jerry and Gretchen's cattle.
Yeah.
Just if we got them all right, if not, we were bidding them up for them. But just
they've got good cattle.
Yeah, they're really good people and they've treated us well.
So one of the things when I was preparing for the podcast today, just reminding myself of your ranch name and your location and everything, where does High Desert Ranch come into play with your location in Colorado?
Yeah, so I assume you mean like just the ranch name?
Yes.
Or where it's okay.
Yeah. Yep, my dad came up with that, I don't know, 15 or 20 years ago.
Yep.
Something like that. And a lot of that is just because, like, Craig, Colorado is the town, that's where we live.
Northwest Colorado.
Yep, clear in the northwest corner. But, like, Craig itself is kind of a high desert. Like, it's not like the panhandle of Texas by any means.
It's like
but,
lots of sagebrush.
It gets hot and dry,
country.
sagebrush, all that.
Yeah.
But it's cool because within 30 minutes, you're up in the high country.
Pine trees above timberline stuff.
That's the, like, Colorado that everybody thinks of. Mm-hmm. And that's where our ranch is. That's where our summer range is and all that.
Just below
but
the high
it just
country.
gets significantly too much snow to winter there.
Yeah.
So our house here that we winter everything is in Craig. And it's like a high country desert.
We've got elk and deer and antelope all on the same property. So it's like we go from kind of open grassy hills and sagebrush up into the pines and the aspen trees and all of that. So it's kind of super fitting. So we just stuck with it and kept that for the longhorns as well and everything. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yes.
That's something else we wanted to talk about with the sales. Our new breeder advice too, something that we've kind of learned, is that bidding online is like a super, super good tool. Mm-hmm. But our recommendation is that if you plan to bid online, find a breeder that you know is at the sale and have them put eyes on the cattle and give you a in-person perspective of what they are. And we really learned that here. We went to the Eddie Wood sale in Fort Worth here in January.
Show. Yeah.
That was actually like I just flew her down there for an anniversary trip. And we went to do all the stock show stuff. And we went to that sale. But like when we were looking at the catalog before that auction, there was a cow that we had in mind that we really liked the most.
We were dead set.
A heifer. But when we got down there and saw her in person, her body condition was like super rough, and the way we saw it is like if her body condition looks like this in Texas where it's 70 degrees right now, if we try to haul her to Colorado where it's currently in the 20s, like we may kill her.
Yeah. So
we ended up not getting her at all. But then just when we were walking through the pens and looking at cattle, there was one that we honestly looked past in the catalog, but yet when we saw her in person, like just fell in love with her and went in the pen with her. And she was like one of the only cows out of the entire sale that I could just walk up to and scratch. And
It was another heifer.
yeah, another heifer.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's certain things, the catalog pictures can make cattle look both better and worse.
Depending on.
So just, yeah, having somebody actually look at them in person and be able to give you a in-person opinion of something that you probably can't see from the catalog picture.
Oh.
But yeah, that's just something that we've learned. But since then we know that, and if there's cattle we're interested in, we call somebody that we know is at the sale and tell them, hey, we're interested in lots 8 and 26.
Would you look at them?
Can you look at them and like just
go in
is
there?
there anything we need to know about that we can't see?
Well, because disposition too, since disposition is so important to us and a lot of other longhorn breeders, I'm sure that's one of the top things about longhorns is the disposition. And online and when you're just watching them in the ring, sometimes you can't really tell the disposition. So having somebody even just go in there and seeing if, they stand there, they let you pet them, they maybe don't. All of that. It's just important to have somebody to tell you in person, like, I noticed this and this, or yeah, the cow looks great, So
yeah, especially with longhorns, just because it's so easy. The longhorn community is so good that, like, I know you can call somebody up that is at the sale, and like they will absolutely, like, if we ever go to a sale, anybody can feel free to call us.
100%.
We're the same way. So we have a lot of folks who maybe don't know as many people, and, we don't necessarily, we won't give advice on the animal, because, that's not our area, but we'll go take video or we'll zoom in on something if they want us to zoom in on a certain body part or, something like that as well. So, completely agree with that advice. And two, that like we work on so many sale catalogs, and I do feel like the consignments are due so early compared to when the sale is, because you have to get them printed and mailed, that a lot of times those pictures, especially you mentioned you were looking at heifers, those pictures are so outdated by the time the sale rolls around. You really do have to find a way to get updated video or eyes on before they come into the sale ring, for sure.
100%.
Or even cows that are exposed and then they calve by the time they go to the sale, but you have no idea what the calf is. And that's where hired hand websites are so awesome. Yeah. Because you can look up that cow, and like what we intend on doing with ours is like update your website constantly. And if you have a cow in a sale catalog, keep updating stuff on her so that people that are interested, they can
keep up
jump
on the
there and
measurements or
see
whatever.
If she calved or if, you have a new measurement or
anything like that.
Anything.
Yep.
We love that. We love when people update it, for sure.
Yes, we do too.
Love what you're hearing? Be sure to check out our Pickup Truck Confessions.
It's a video series where we hop in the truck or rental car and interview a variety of breeders about what drives their passion for their livestock, how they got started in the breed of their choice, marketing tips, and more.
And now, back to the podcast.
Well, as long as we're talking kind of about animals and sales, let's switch gears a little bit. So I'm gonna put you guys on the spot, and you can each have an answer in case they're not the same. But if you had to pick your all-time favorite longhorn cow, who would you pick?
What's her name?
So the one that I really fell in love with here recently is Rebel Fox out of Whitlock Longhorns. She's a Rebel daughter, but she's over 100 inches, lateral horns, they twist, huge body. I mean, she's just got it all. Not just her specifically, but that kind of cow is what we just.
The deep body. We like the long, splayed out, twisting horns.
Yeah. Deep bodies is a big one.
Especially for where we live.
And that's something we didn't realize until we went to that auction in Texas, is there's a big difference between our herd and a lot of the Texas Longhorns just have smaller bodies.
Shorter, narrower.
When I see those cows, it's like, man, I think they'd have a tougher time surviving what our Colorado
climate
weather brings.
Do you think it also has something to do with how you had longhorns before when you were younger, and maybe back then? Because I'm in the same boat. I grew up with longhorns, and I do feel like they're maybe a little bit bigger bodied in the past. So do you feel like that's just kind of a taste you have from when you had them before?
Could be.
Yeah, probably, but I don't know in our opinion, the higher quality cattle even now still have that.
The bigger, just like the real deep body, like that.
Yeah. But there's definitely some that seem to be kind of phasing that out, which that's something that personally we won't have in our herd or breed for. But because I don't know, you do have to look at a lot more than just horn.
Well, yeah, and like honest to goodness, where we live, we kind of almost have to have those bigger, deeper bodied cows because, I mean, the more body mass, the more they're able to keep heat, and we get cold. I mean, especially here in Craig. I mean, for most of the winter, we are in the single digits to negative, and then at night it gets even worse. So I don't honestly know how those smaller cows would do here. So
sorry, Go ahead with your favorite cow.
Well, I can't remember her name, the one that we found the other day. Is that the one that you just said?
Rebel Fox.
Is that her? Yeah. I like everything about that cow. She's got everything going on.
Or like our boy Johnny, his sister that sold for the $360,000 that head over heels. She's another one that she's got it all. There's several of them out there. As far as cows, it's hard to pick a favorite. But if they have a deep body and some flashy color, always helps.
Yeah.
Lateral horns, we sure like them.
So what if we do the same question, but for bulls? I know you said you weren't going to raise them and that sort of stuff, but I feel like you have to have a favorite out there.
Oh yeah.
Well, we do, and that's why we wanted to just AI so that we can breed to those bulls. But yeah, so back when I had my original herd, which was 15 years ago now.
Yeah.
Back then, my favorite bull ever was Winchester.
Big old bodied guy too.
But he's obviously one that's pretty deep down in pedigrees now.
Yeah.
But
though he's a great example, like how you said you wanted to get Johnny more publicity. Winchester's a great example of a bull that was very well promoted in his time. Like there was never a magazine that came out without an ad for him in there. He never missed an event. So that's a good example of a well marketed bull too.
For sure.
And then for modern day, and like even like right now, when we're looking at sale catalogs, one of the biggest ones that I'm looking for is MC Hanging Tough.
I was going to say MC Hanging Tough is a really cool dude.
Really, really love the consistency that his calves have. Because there's a handful of MC Hanging Tough 2-year-old heifers that are in upcoming sales, and they all have that same look. Like, they're out of him without even having to read the pedigree. And I really love that consistency there. Kid Rock obviously has a lot of excitement. It's just
we're waiting to see.
His calves are also young that it's hard to tell exactly what they're going to be.
I mean, I love his look, love his color, his body, everything. It's just kind of one of those like, can't really place him at a favorite quite yet because we just don't really 100% know what he produces with good cows until they get a little bit older. I really like Rebel HR too. I love his coloring. I love that coloring. But
and Heads Up, I mean, obviously because we have one of his sons that's just doing phenomenal, so it's hard not to like him.
Yep. Well, and then
feel like those are a lot of the bulls you'll get to see in person at the Horn Showcase this fall.
Yes.
So.
And that's why we want to bring Johnny to the main event so that people can see him in person. And I think this year is going to be one of the biggest ones for that because now he turns 2 like a week before the event. So, I mean,
he'll be right at that.
It's kind of cool that that his birthdays are
right at the milestone markers, or like the shows and everything. So.
But yeah, this will be a big year for him because he's kind of coming into his body a little bit slower than other bulls. But
his mom's a little bit smaller. I think she's one of the smaller bodied ones that we have.
Yeah, this summer is where he's going to have that giant glow up in his body. I mean, you can see that coming on already.
He's very bully looking, which I love.
Yeah.
But like we AI'd to Cut and Dried just this last year, and we got to see him in person when we were in Texas. And he is a really cool bull too. I love how big he is. He's a big old dude. Yeah. Awesome
demeanor too. He's just a gentle giant.
Just super big and gentle, and Yeah. The bulls there's some good bulls out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's exciting I said that we didn't want to do it, but knowing that we may have one of the top bulls one day it's cool and exciting.
Yeah. He's definitely up there at least, I mean, and if we can get the right advertising and marketing on him, then
that'll just be the big thing is if he keeps it up. Because as of right now, he's like right there with the top record-breaking measurements that have ever happened. But as long as he keeps it up.
So far, he's growing right, too. He's growing straight out. So far, it looks like he might get some twist in there.
Yeah, that's the most exciting thing is you can see a twist coming on.
Yeah,
so. And all those best bulls, they
twist.
They have a twist. So, and I don't know why he wouldn't, because
his mom.
Yeah, both his sire and dam have
those good twists. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's exciting. We'll have to keep tabs on him on your website here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're excited to get the shoot so we can get the updated horn measurements on him.
Yep, and we've talked about, I don't know, we've debated back and forth about collecting him or not, because, I don't know, to me there's also something really, really cool about the hard-to-get ones, I guess, like Rebel. HR is a good example of that. You can't just jump online and buy 10 straws of Rebel HR right now. And I don't know, we kind of really like that. And if Johnny really ends up being something special like that, I think it would be cool to be a little bit selective instead of just selling as many straws as we can. Because it obviously makes their offspring a little bit more sought after when there's not many out there.
And we should have some calves from him this spring, early summer.
Yeah.
So that'll be exciting to see those. That'll be really exciting because most of our cows didn't take when we AI'd to cut and dried.
Yeah,
so.
That was another lesson learned.
Yeah.
But
yep.
That's why we're super excited about our shoot too, so that we can AI at home. Because from what we're finding is that was half of the reason why we had such poor luck with AIing last year is just hauling them away from home and all the stress that brings.
Well, and with us, we go out there and we feed them treats and we love on them and they have pasture, and obviously where we took them was more of a feedlot, and so I think a lot of it was just like they came back with kind of lower body condition and everything, and
after we picked them up and saw their body condition, I was upset at myself that I even took them there in the first place.
Yeah.
But
so is that something that you all are planning to teach yourself to do on your own then as part of your program?
Yeah. I actually think that Randy's probably going to do an AI school type certification stuff so that we can learn everything we can about it and be as successful as we can as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and that'll probably be at Champion Genetics when I do that. Just because they obviously deal with so many longhorns that I don't know. I think there's something to that instead of just anybody who AIs cows.
Right.
Yep. So earlier in the podcast, you all mentioned Lodge. I always say their last name wrong. Lodge Speaks in Nebraska. Is that?
Yep.
As one of the breeders that helped you get started, and I feel like you like their herd a lot. You've mentioned a few times. Are there any other breeders, whether they be local to you or across the nation, that you kind of just admire their herd or where they've taken their program?
Whitlock Longhorns.
Whitlock Longhorns, for one, they just have a lot of cattle. They're the ones that have Rebel Fox. They have a lot of high quality cattle, but I also really admire what they do for new breeders, and they have their new breeders program, and they're always very what's the word I'm looking here? They're very open about absolutely everything, sharing their knowledge. Dean Whitlock on Facebook. If somebody isn't friends with him, you go be friends with him on Facebook, because he is constantly posting a lot of good knowledge. He'll post a cow and like they did a breakdown of all the top selling cows last year and exactly why they were a top selling cow, and breakdowns of their pedigree and what they produce and absolutely everything. people like that, and like Jerry,
Jerry
and Gretchen, the fact that just us being new breeders coming back into it, like they were just so helpful and welcoming and super, super great people.
I mean, we still stay in touch with them, and we go back and forth on how their breeding season's going, how ours is going. I mean, they're awesome, wonderful people. And that's what we look for, too, is just, the ranches and the people that are willing to share the information. And which, again, I mean, the Longhorn community is really good at that. So,
But yeah, we're still a little bit fairly new to it. And even the last few years that we've been back into it, we've been a little bit in our corner of Colorado here, and there's probably not a whole lot of people that even know about us.
Yeah.
But so that's another thing we're looking to change, is just get more involved and get to where people know us and our herd more and all that. So I know we'll make a lot of new relationships there.
Yep.
Well, I feel like that's a good segue into one of our next topics, which is just marketing. So you kind of hit the nail on the head with being outside of Texas, essentially. I feel like for everyone that's not in Texas, it's a little bit more of a battle. But what are you all doing on social, or, like you said, going to some events to try to get your name out there more?
We're on some of those Facebook groups, but I don't know. I'm a little sour with social media. It's a necessary evil, I suppose. But
we want to go to a lot more like in person.
But yeah, actually more in person events to me is, I don't know, maybe we're old fashioned that way, but that's how I want to introduce ourselves and make ourselves more known, and
through our website, the Hired Hand website, keeping up on that, and just like so people know in general, like we're open for if anybody wants to come see the herd, see where we have them. Anybody has questions about, if other breeders have questions about Longhorns in Colorado and what we do to keep them in shape and everything,
Yeah.
But,
well, because even the other Longhorn ranches in Colorado,
they're eastern.
They're on the eastern slope, and eastern Colorado is a totally different animal. I mean, it's
not.
The weather there is so much nicer. Where we're at, it's.
Well, yeah, and where our ranch, we're high desert, but the grass is, we have awesome grass. I mean, it's incredibly nutritional, and I think that also helps a lot with keeping our cows, getting our cows up their body condition, their muscling, because they're traveling up and down the hills and in the draws, and so they're very in shape cattle, I guess. So yeah, we don't have a whole lot on social media quite yet. We don't do a whole awful lot, even with our outfitting business. We don't post a whole lot on social media. We're kind of about like that. We go to in-person shows for the hunting even too. So
we'd rather meet people in person and be able to talk to you in person, kind of thing.
But we're always easy to get a hold of.
Yeah. But yeah, we're planning on futurities and shows and a lot of stuff soon here. So, because we're finally getting into cattle that we can actually bring to those.
Yeah. So
it's hard to be patient, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's something you have to have with Longhorns, because
nothing happens quick with them.
Nope. At least until you get that established herd where you can be selling calves and stuff, but we're not there yet. So
I feel like even then you're always working 2-3 generations ahead, trying to make sure you don't fall behind. So
exactly.
That's another person I'd like to just give a shout out to that has been just phenomenal to work with is Cody James.
Oh yes,
is a hauler, and he hauled a heifer for us, and he is just absolutely phenomenal to work with.
Takes really, really good care of the cattle, the livestock, whatever he's hauling, because I know he hauls horses and stuff too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
But anyways, he's just wonderful to work with. Takes really good care of the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's awesome. So if you need a hauler, Cody James is definitely very, very great to work with.
And he goes everywhere, I think, too.
I was going to say he goes everywhere. So
which is helpful for us up
here. Yep. Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've really learned a lot about your program. I'm excited for you all for the future, for sure. I'm going to keep tabs on Johnny. I know that now. But is there anything we haven't gone over that you want to share with the listeners or that we haven't covered?
Another hard lesson learned that we went through just recently is there's a lot of operations that kind of essentially breed year round.
Oh.
And where we're at, we didn't want necessarily year round breeding, but we thought we could get away with calving even in like March. And we lost just a knockout of a heifer calf this year.
Our first calf.
Yeah, so that was a little bit of a lesson learned. Is like we're not even going to mess with that anymore. Like we're only going to be breeding for
spring,
May or June calves now.
Spring,
just because of where we're at. Like the weather is so unpredictable. And her like, I don't know, that was rough. Just because there's not a whole lot we could have even done differently there.
I don't know. She was taking care
cold.
of. Yeah, she had the calf all dried off and everything, and there was just that 2-hour window there that we went out and checked on her, and no calf, and then went out and checked on her again, and it was like, the calf was so cold. We brought her in and got her in the tub and tried to get her warmed up, but she just never. She never quite warmed up. She never got lively enough. But so yeah, and that I think kind of stemmed from the beef. Kind of mindset of like everybody's calving, at this point in time with all the beef ranches around us. And then, so yeah, we're like, yeah, no, we're going to go to,
yeah, because with us with Longhorns, like it literally does not matter when you calve, because it's not like we're trying to sell a 600-pound calf in the fall. That does not apply to us. So we're just going to calve a lot later to help that a little bit.
Yep.
So that
because Longhorns are a lot harder to tell exactly like to the day when they're going to calve. Because beef cattle, I mean, some of them, the bags they get is but yeah, the Longhorns are a little bit harder to tell on that, even watching them with a close eye. And
we don't have a barn here at the house, so that makes things a little bit tougher too. But
we do, but even that's not.
Well, it's not a barn.
It's not enough when.
It's a lean-to thing.
When it's that cold. So.
Yep.
Well, I feel like that's good advice, because that comes into play too when you're looking to purchase animals at a sale as well. You have to kind of look at when they're due and all of that. So it changes things for you all a little bit as well.
Yeah, that's something we've kind of ran into that it's a little bit tough, is because there's a lot of like fall calving operations, and that's something that just doesn't work for us. So if we buy cattle that are on a fall calving schedule, we lose a little bit of time with them because we have to get them caught back up to where we're at. So yeah, that's something to think about, I guess. And with that, I wish there was more open cattle out there or open heifers out there for sale. Because that's kind of the biggest thing we're after right now, is we want open heifers that we can breed our bull to. But
I don't know that I've ever had that request before. I'm going to be honest with you. That might be the first time I've heard that one.
Yeah, but as long as your bull's good, it's fine. But
when you have one that's an up and coming one, and we were just trying to get as many.
But people would probably say the same thing if we're showing one that's bred to Johnny, because he's not like totally established yet.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, that's what we're after right now, is we want stuff that we can breed him to. But
which this heifer we just got, Jubilee, she's open, so that worked out really well.
Yeah.
So we'll get. What we're breeding in July now, starting to, so that so we miss that cold. Hopefully, yeah. Sometimes in Craig you don't know. We've had snow on the 4th of July before, so.
Oh my goodness! Wow. We've had it here in April, and I thought that was bad.
Yeah. Usually, like right now, we're just starting to get into the 60s, so we're like, okay, we're getting good now. Be able to take them up to the ranch here soon, hopefully, and get them on that good grass.
Our summer pasture is phenomenal. I think we have like a dormant stage with all their horn growth and everything throughout the winter, just because our winters are so harsh. But then something about our high country grass is just absolutely phenomenal for them. Like, yeah, you can watch them grow in the summertime. So, and that's something else we're looking at potentially one day, is buying a ranch in Texas just to winter the cattle, just so that they're somewhere a little bit better for them.
Yep. And us, you know.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I really appreciate you both taking the time to join me today. I hear River starting to wake up there. I think so. It's a sign that we need to wrap things up. But thank you both so much, and I'll link your website in the show notes as well as some of the programs and the animals that you mentioned, so folks can go check them out.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Of course. Thank you.